Hey, everybody, welcome. This is Think Business. Looking forward to talking to Lauren Kelley. Lauren, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are
Good
you?
to see you. Good to see you. Sorry, hold on. There's like a small little glitch. Okay, there we go. I think we got it. All right. Lauren, it's good to connect with you. Lauren Kelley, founder of the Random Agency, social strategist, podcast producer. You guys specialize in growing qualified leads, not just likes and followers. therandomagency.com. So let's dive into this because I am a big believer that people ask me all the time. I do a lot of social, I do a lot of marketing, I provide a lot of education, I do a lot of podcasting. And people always say, oh, how many downloads, how many likes, how many followers? I don't know. I don't care. I care about building ambassadors. I care about building people who will talk about what I do, not just like what I do or follow me. And so I want to kind of dive in there because I loved how you talk about your agency. Talk about, likes and followers versus ambassadors.
Absolutely. So I love you. I love the mindset that you have. That's exactly what we encourage, all of our clients and just really anyone that we talk to about social media. Because for a long time, likes and followers were the most important thing for a lot of people. And in the social world, we like to call those vanity metrics. So it makes you feel good to see, your personal branding has a lot of followers, or your business, whatever that might be, it feels nice, but it doesn't actually translate into sales. It certainly doesn't translate into ambassadors, as you say.
Right.
And we always recommend you should really focus on providing value instead of just trying to have, a ton of likes on your posts. If you want likes and followers, you could just buy them, but that doesn't really advance your business forward or get you anyone supporting you.
Yeah. I mean, there's that story, and I can't remember exactly all the details. But I can't remember all the details, but there's a story about that person who had 2 million followers and couldn't sell a t-shirt, right? Or couldn't sell 10 t-shirts. So, all right, so let's dive in for a minute. I want to talk about value, and I want to talk about the power of consistent value. There's, I'm a business coach. I work with solopreneurs to Fortune 100 companies and everything in between. And people always say, well, how long should you get coaching for? Well, in my opinion, forever. I've had a business coach. I'm 49. I've had a business coach since I was in my early 20s. I always have a business coach. And so, because there's always something new. And so when it comes to value, I think it's the same. There's always something new, and it's the long game, and it's the consistent game, and it's the execution game. And so can you talk about kind of not just the value that you should bring, but the value and the sequencing and the consistency that you need to bring to value?
Sure. So for each of the platforms, there's different recommended cadence depending on, where you want to post. So LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever's right for your brand. Obviously, there's some differences there, but I would say if you can make it this way, daily posting of content, putting yourself out there, people like to see your face. That's another big thing that we share. So it's great to have infographics and other long form content. The value can be, put out there in different ways, videos, but showing your face is really important.
It's interesting that you talk about showing your face because recent studies show, as we sit here June 15, 2021, live on most every platform, minus Instagram. They don't make it easy to go live like all the other ones. But, the recent studies are showing that people don't read on the internet. They skim. People don't watch videos. They read the captions. So I have way more people. I think people like the fact that I'm live and it's consistent and it's predictable, like old school television, right? But more people watch my podcast through the captions, right? There's plenty of people that listen to it on the iTunes platform, the podcast platforms. But just kind of talk about this, because I think when I talk to people about it, they're like, "Wait, I don't understand." Like it's like you almost have to say it twice, right? What do you mean people don't read? They skim, and they don't watch video. They read the captions. So kind of talk about those trends, if you will.
Sure. So video is really important, and it's, people are spending more time watching video online than they are reading, to your point. But along with that, captions.
Wait, to that point, I just want to say one thing. They say, I heard a long time ago that a 30-second video is equivalent to 3.5 million words read from a retention standpoint. So I'm not sharing this recent stat that I said. not to do video. I think video is one of the most important things you can do. Yeah. Because it
Absolutely.
shows your kind of interactivity like we are now.
Yeah, so people like the combination of that video. And to your point, they can consume a lot of content really quickly. And having the captions is important, number one, from an accessibility standpoint. So people, of all abilities can watch and read and view those videos. But also, a lot of times if you think about like dual screens, people are looking at social maybe while they're supposed to be working or while they're watching TV, they're doing other things. So having those captions, a lot of people are watching video. A majority of people are watching without the sound on. So if you know that they're not watching the sound, but they still want to see the video, they don't just want to read a post.
Right.
So having those captions there, Instagram especially really rewards you, and Facebook as well, for having those captions, because people spend more time on the platform. And ultimately that's what the platforms want, is for people to spend as much time as possible staying in those apps.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. Yeah. So how often should someone be posting? I just want to go back to kind of the value. How often do people, the attention span of a human being today is less than a goldfish, which is less than 7 seconds.
Yes.
And so out of sight, out of mind, how often do people need to be posting? And there's a different ask and attract, which we'll get into maybe in a little bit on every platform like you've been talking about, but how often for each platform?
Ideally, I would suggest posting every single day. It's more of an art than a science. So there's not one formula that's going to get you success. And it really also depends on somewhat your audience. But I would suggest any of the platforms, especially that have stories, Instagram Reels or TikTok, those shorter videos, those are doing really well right now. So incorporating that into your strategy is important. But trying to post something every single day on your main platforms, maybe that's not, all 6, every single platform you have, but pick one and do it really well. And build from there is what I always recommend.
Yeah. And I'm not a do-it-yourselfer. Like I don't do, I create a lot of content, but I don't post it. I have somebody who does my social strategy since I started my business over 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because to post and to come up with what to post and what to hashtag and what to this, it's very, very difficult. And so that's why I use someone, and she's incredible.
Yeah,
that's what you do, right? So you're a social strategist. And so for the people who are saying, God, I don't have time to do it, what do you say to them?
I would say if you don't have time to do it, reach out to someone to help you if you can afford that. If it's not something that you can do, whether it's an agency, a freelancer, I really suggest take it one platform at a time. The biggest mistake that I tend to see is that people will create an account on every single profile where they'll hear from their niece or their friend or their coworker, oh, hey, you need to be on TikTok, or you need to be on this or Clubhouse, this or that platform. There are a ton of options out there, and pretty much every 6 months, there's a new social platform that's on the scene. So pick one platform where your audience is. That's really important. Think about what you want to say and just start one at a time. But if you have the resources, I would say, reach out to someone to see if they can help you execute on that, because it can be overwhelming when you're first starting out and figuring out what to post. Yeah.
And I think another question, Lauren, that we need to ask ourselves, that everyone needs to ask is, you said, can you afford that? But I'm saying, how can, what can you reallocate?
Yeah.
Because can you afford not to do it? Right. You have to be doing it. Right. So to the level maybe you can afford or find the budget, it's really, really important. I mean, and so, So let's talk a little bit about podcasting. Right. So I'm a huge podcaster. I do lives every day. I have a 7-day-a-week podcast. I have, I think about 12 episodes a week. I'm going to soon have about 14 episodes a week. And so, let's talk about the power of podcasting, because I think it is one of the greatest marketing, prospecting, educational vehicles of all time.
Absolutely.
And yet some people still want to do it, but don't jump in. And I want to start off by talking about the fear of jumping in and doing a podcast. So let's start there.
Absolutely. So we get a lot of questions about that. People have great ideas for a podcast, but they're afraid to put it out there. A lot of the things we hear are, oh, well, what if no one will listen? Or, there's also this phenomenon, I'm sure you're familiar, called pod fading. So within 6 months, people are really enthusiastic when they first start with a podcast, but they fail to plan ahead and really think about the long term. How many seasons do you want to do? How do you want to execute that? So I'd say if you're thinking about a podcast, but you're unsure, just give it a try. And if a lot of times also video intimidates people, they're not ready to have the video element for their podcast. And if you have a subject that you're passionate about, I always suggest if video is what's holding you back, start with audio only. Get yourself out there, give it a try, and then you can always add video later. I think video is a great resource and does wonders for your podcast, and it exposes you to a new audience, but don't let it hold you back if that's something that is just tripping you up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also, a lot of people think, well, I don't know if, there's already a podcast on X.
Yep.
But everybody brings their own frequency and vibration to a topic. Everybody brings their own perspective, their own stories, their own, just everything. And,
Absolutely.
You can have a podcast that's 1 minute episodes, 2 minute episodes. You can have if someone goes to Think Business and let's just use iTunes for an example, I have 2 minute episodes, 1 minute episodes, 30-minute episodes, 40-minute episodes. I mean, I try to make it like a Netflix channel in a way, because I look at myself as a media company. And so talk about that from a social standpoint, from a podcasting, how do people need to be thinking about themselves?
Yeah, so that's a good point of view. And I just want to add as well, one great example I give to people if they're worried, hey, there's already a topic about social media, about marketing, whatever their niche is, think about the true crime space. There are dozens and dozens and hundreds of, podcasts, but all of those are telling unique stories in their own way and have their own big fan bases. And people don't just subscribe only to one podcast about a topic they enjoy. So that's just one thing, if you're thinking about it, don't let that hold you back.
Yeah.
As far as, thinking about a podcast as part of your personal brand, audio is very intimate in a way. It's one of the only opportunities where people are watching or listening to you that you have, more of their full attention. Talking earlier about those dual screens, people are doing a lot of other things, but when they're hearing you, it's a different kind of relationship. So you're able, to connect with someone in a different way than you would on a phone call or social media post. It's another way that you can engage with your audience and kind of grow that relationship a bit more. People start to view you and look forward to your episodes. That consistency is really important. Similar to a favorite TV show that's on every Thursday at 9 p.m., people will start to look forward to your podcast.
Yeah. I think it's all about predictability, which I think lacks in today's world. So the consistency and predictability, I think, is really important.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about messaging, right? We're talking about social strategy. We're talking about podcasting. A lot of the undercurrent of what you're talking about right now is clear, concise messaging that's also compelling. And so give a little bit of the formula that you advise your clients when it comes to that.
Sure. So for messaging, I mentioned before, but providing value, that's the most important piece. So a lot of times clients will come and say, hey, I have my podcast or I'm posting and I'm not really seeing a lot of return on that. People aren't engaging with me. And when you look through the content, a lot of times the focus is all about them. Say, read my latest article, if I was featured in this and that, instead of what can you bring that give something to other people. So what's in it for the person your audience? So that's the biggest thing as far as messaging goes, that you should have a very clear understanding of what you're bringing and why someone should care. There's a lot of people who are trying to build their brand and stand out in social media space. It's very common now. And one of the biggest mistakes is focusing on it's all about me versus what can you bring to other people. So from a messaging perspective, that's the number one thing that we like to tackle first is how do you bring your gifts to other people and share it with them and not worry. The other thing is people worry, if I, share my secrets or tell people how to do it, if I'm a coach, for example, if I give tips, maybe they won't hire me because they'll get it all for free, so to speak. But from the most part, from my experience, you always get more by giving and sharing. And a lot of times just because you're giving some tips doesn't mean people can execute them on their own. They'll still need you to help, bring their business forward. I'm sure you've experienced that in your own business.
Absolutely.
As well.
I mean, I have 3 different ways that people can work with me, right? You can go to my website and get a ton of free stuff. It's updated practically every single day with new content.
Yeah.
You can have full access to me at one-on-one custom coaching. And if that's not within your realm, you can do one of my $100 a month group coaching models, which I have 5 of them. And one for students, which is a 6 one. And so there's different options to work with me to get that. So, and you have to, and I'm a big fan of tell people what to do Your clients are the 10% who want that custom way on how to do it specifically for them. Yeah. All right. I'm also, let's change topics just a little bit. You know, I like hearing people's backstory. And so success is not a straight line. So you are the founder of, your business and the Random Agency, but give us the 1-minute Reader's Digest version of how you got to today.
Sure. So that's a great story. So I've been working in the ad agency space in the Detroit area for, 8 years. And I was working at a startup at the beginning of COVID. And I actually was laid off from that job once COVID hit because it was a live events based company. So as you can imagine, a lot of live events
change there.
Yeah, quickly took a nosedive. So at that point, I kind of hit a fork in the road, right? Do I want to go off on my own? That's a dream I've had for a long time. Or, there's other jobs, there's always other opportunities, to go back at a big ad agency. So I took the plunge during COVID, in May of COVID, to start my own business. And it's been really great. Really wanted to focus on small business, medium-sized businesses, as well as, business owners and help them with social media. And it's been a true blessing and really fun. It's grown quite a bit since then.
Good for you. Well, good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
There was just an article that came out that 4 million people left their jobs in April because they wanted a new experience, a better job. They wanted to start their own piece, their own business. And so I think we're going to see a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
From that, a lot of entrepreneurial people kind of sprout up over the next couple of years because of what happened to COVID and how people kind of get back into alignment and back to center in their own values and goals. I love it. All right. Quick speed round. You ready, Lauren?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite book and why?
Oh, my favorite book. It's a new one. So it's called New Money and it's by Lana Schwartz. And it's all about how money and like Venmo transactions have become like social media in a new way. It's pretty cool. I recommend everyone check it out.
That sounds good. I like that. Yeah. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
I would say don't think so much about what other people are thinking because they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. I love that phrase. The way I always learned it was don't spend too much time worrying about what other people think of you because the fact is they rarely do. Finish this sentence. One thing every person who wants to kind of take the plunge into an entrepreneurial venture, whether full-time or part-time / side hustle, needs to fill in the blank. Oh, one thing they need. I would say one thing they need to be successful is don't be afraid to go it alone. Even if some people don't understand at first, stick in there and keep going because it'll be worth it.
Yeah. The only thing I'll add to that is have proper mentorship around you and people guiding you. And just because your family loves you doesn't mean they'll give you great advice. And so you have to have those accountability and those mentors around you that really have your best interest in an unconditional way. Really important, whether it's a mentor, a coach of any type, it's really critical.
And also a good tax person.
Yeah. You need accountants and attorneys and all of those. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Last question, fast forward 20 years, fast forward 100 years, you pick it. What do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh, I would say I would like my legacy to be one of kindness and one of someone who helped others get their start when they wanted to pursue their dreams.
I love it. Okay. A couple final thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really important that a couple of things that you talked about is, posting every day and the power of consistency.
Yes.
And really just kind of taking a risk, right? I think at some point you need to jump in, and what I heard you say, maybe you didn't say it in these exact words, are believe in yourself and jump in, right? And jump in. Any closing thoughts for you?
Sure. One last thought around social media. A lot of people think way too much, about the content and feel really nervous. If I'm vulnerable, if I share on social, maybe people will make fun or, maybe people won't get it. Just post it anyway and don't be too precious about it. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah. And I'll piggyback on that, talking about, raise your courage 0.001% every day, because it is scary. We have to leave our egos at the door, and just do it. I promise you, there is one person that will see your content as valuable. So if you post it with good spirits and good intent, and a positive reason, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So
absolutely.
I love that. All right. Think community. Lauren, tell everybody your ideal clients and how they can connect with you.
Of course. So my ideal clients are, thought leaders, CEOs in that space who want to take their, thought leadership to the next level, as well as small business owners. If you're looking to, drive your business on social, not sure how to start, give me a call. Happy to help you.
I love it. Think community. If Lauren can help you and her agency, The Random Agency, please give her a buzz. Also, you can, if you're looking to get some more business stuff that we kind of talked about on today's call, but even more, you can download my book and my ebook, my 100-page ebook on my website, johndwoskin.com. Lauren, this was great. I appreciate you taking time to be on the show and sharing your wisdom. And The Random Agency, congratulations on your success, jumping in, and everything that is going to grow, with everything that you're planting. So congratulations on everything.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. It was great fun.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.